As the German forces approached Kharkov, Luftwaffe bombers began to concentrate their attacks on the supply lines of the Red Army units in the city and beyond. As the fourth city of the Soviet Union, Kharkov was the nexus for numerous railway lines. Those coming from the east were used to rail in supplies and weapons into the city, which Stalin did not wish to see fall again. For the poor ground crews keeping the bombers flying in the face of such high sortie rates, the conditions that they were forced to endure when carrying out essential maintenance were appalling. Few of the airfields used were purpose-built, and in the absence of hangars, major equipment changes, such as the replacement of this engine on a JU88, had to be carried out in the open, come blizzards, intense frosts, and severe temperatures as low as 30 to 50 degrees below zero. Quite often, the appalling weather prevented the arrival of supplies and spares, and on many occasions, replacing an engine meant cannibalizing another aircraft that had been badly damaged to provide the necessary spares to enable another to be returned to service. It is small wonder that many Luftwaffe pilots, when talking about their own exploits, have made frequent warm references to the valiant efforts of the black men in keeping their aircraft flying, whatever the circumstances. Coming in at low level, these HE111s attack one of the marshalling yards in the city. The snowy landscape over which they are flying is crisscrossed by Soviet tank tracks. No film better perhaps exemplifies the manner in which during this operation the medium bombers were employed almost as ground attack aircraft than this sequence. The nose gunner of this HE111 employs his machine gun to strafe a goods train. Soviet soldiers can be seen running for cover. Raids beyond Kharkov also saw the medium bomber Stafon attacking Soviet positions across the frozen river Donets and deep within the Kursk salient. In the face of such a rapidly changing battlefield situation, photo intelligence of the movement and disposition of enemy forces became a priority. FW189s of the recce units were extensively employed in the short to medium range surveillance of the battlefield to garner the information required by Luftwaffe staff planning the next sorties. Very close contact was therefore necessary with the rapidly advancing ground units, and in the absence of radio, the Fiesler Storch was frequently used to take orders to the front line and carry information about forthcoming Luftwaffe operations. The Storch was a highly regarded type. What little film was taken of Luftwaffe bombers in action on the Eastern Front after the Battle of Kursk, more often than not, shows Heinkel 111s being employed more and more frequently in the transport role. On this occasion, towards the end of the winter of 1943-44, late model HE111s have been loaded with under-fuselage air-droppable containers to fly a supply mission to the encircled German garrison at Kovel in western Byelorusia. These HE111s carry the powered gun turret on the upper fuselage and a cannon in the nose cone. The supply containers are para-dropped over Kovel, which was under heavy fire from Soviet artillery. The lack of Soviet fighters to contest this paradrop is remarkable, given that the HE111s are without escort protection and would be extremely vulnerable to enemy fighter attack. In June 1944, bombers and fighters of the 8th Air Force operating out of England took their place. Until the night of June the 21st, the Luftwaffe had done little to impede the progress of the US bomber stream as it flew eastward over Poland. But on that occasion, a JU88 trailed the US formation of 163 B-17s and photographed them as they landed at Poltava and Mirgorod. The decision was taken by the Luftwaffe to mount a night attack on the US bombers. Led by the Pathfinders from KG-4, 200 111s from KGs 4, 53 and 55, drawn from Fliegerkorps 4, took off from airfields in Poland to attack the two bases. Heavy cloud over Mirgorod saw all bombers concentrate on Poltava, dropping flares and high explosives. This is the only picture taken of the Poltava raid in progress. Of the 72 forts on the airfield, 44 were destroyed and 26 damaged. A dump of 400,000 gallons of aviation fuel was also destroyed. In the very last film taken for the newsreel showing Luftwaffe bombers in action, Heinkel 111s are seen acting once more in the transport role. Their task was to supply the many encircled German formations bypassed in Poland as the Red Army advanced to the River Oder in January and February 1945. A number are used as tugs to pull DFS 230 gliders, whose pilots have clearly accepted that they're making a one-way trip into the beleaguered garrisons.